Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Random Logging! So, it's been a while. Last thing I made was a rant last week, because I was pissed off, like, majorly. It's probably the most angry I've been on camera, I think, since I started this channel. So, that was fun, yeah, so apparently you guys liked that because a lot of people watched it. Or it might just have been the not safe for work label. People are like, oh, I'm going to watch something naughty, and it was just me swearing at a camera. Anyway, so this past weekend, actually technically starting last Thursday, I was the official Dungeons & Dragons Adventure League organizer for a local convention here in Wisconsin called the Nexus Game Fair. And so basically what I did is the months leading up to it, I contacted a bunch of DMs and got everybody's information and got them assigned to running. I think we originally had 33 different D&D events scheduled. And yeah, when it came time for the event to come around, I was the guy that made sure everything went off as smoothly as possible. So basically every day from about 7:30 a.m. till about roughly 12:30 p.m. or I mean 12:30 a.m. the next day, so about 17 hours. I was in the organized playroom at the hotel where the convention was at, making sure that everybody was being able to play, and making sure that all of the Dungeon Masters had certificates for their players to get once they finished their adventures, and making sure that the tables were right. Like it was an extensive thing. Like I said, 17-hour days. It was fun. But beyond that, I got to meet some amazingly awesome people. I got to meet one of my fellow local coordinators from down in northern Illinois, is where he's a local coordinator, and I got to meet a bunch of the DMs that he runs with a lot, and they were amazing. I got to meet a bunch of local DMs from around like the greater Milwaukee area who were phenomenal. I had a few of the guys that I play D&D encounters with on Wednesday nights. I had a few of them come out and join in the festivities, which was an absolute blast. It was incredible. It was exhausting, and yeah, I had so much fun. One of the things I would do for an Adventure League game to run, it has the Adventure League has a long list of rules to make everything fair across the board. It's designed so that you can take a character from one table and hop over to another table, and in order to do that, they have to have a lot of rules to make sure that nobody's going to have like a super overpowered character, and make it not fun for everybody else. So yeah, the one of the rules is the table can have no less than 3 players and no more than 7. There were a couple events that we were having trouble getting enough players to play them, simply because not enough people signed up, or some of them. Another one of the rules is there's level ranges for the characters, and if you don't have a character that you've leveled up through the Adventure League, that's the correct level, you can't play that adventure. So yeah, one of the things that I would do to make sure that adventures ran is that if they were short a player, I would go look for players, and if I couldn't find a player, I would play at the table, so that the game could run. And I had a ton of fun doing it. It's the first time, other than the one time I played the week after that wedding I went to, I played a character in Encounters on my with my Wednesday night group. Other than that, and what I did at Nexus, I haven't actually played D&D as opposed to being a DM in over 2 years. So I got to play like 4 or 5 different adventures. One of them was an 8-hour-long adventure. It was intense, and it was a ton of fun. I played 2 different characters. Being a DM for Adventure League games and encounters, You earn rewards because you can't play a character and level them up. You earn experience and stuff like that, so you can just make your own character and add experience to them. So I used the rewards I'd earned as a DM to create Aether. For those of you that haven't seen it yet, I have an intro video for Aether on the channel. I'll try and make a notation or whatever it is somewhere around here. If you haven't checked it out, do it, because I'm really proud of it. But it's done in the style of the Critical Role introductions. So yeah, I got to play him. I got him from level 5 to 6, and he's like 2 grand away from 7 or something like that, which was pretty good. And he was a blast to play. I got to we actually upset one of the DMs because I played the character very strategically, because Aether is a very strategic person, being an assassin and fairly intelligent. And yeah, it was really fun, and we kind of we killed a couple monsters that were supposed to flee from battle, and we weren't supposed to be able to kill them because they were super overpowered for the adventure. They were designed to give you some trouble, and then they were supposed to escape to join in later, and we were able to kill them because I'm awesome. So that was fun. And then another one, we were facing Yetis, and apparently Yetis have this ability where they can stare at you and paralyze you. I wasn't aware of this, but it happened. I wasn't paying attention, and I had to roll a saving throw to make sure I didn't die, or I didn't get paralyzed. And I'm like, oh, paralyzed, who cares? I've got friends around me. It's not a big deal. So I roll, I fail like I normally do, and I was paralyzed. I'm like, oh, big deal. We were fighting near a cliff, and so the Yeti grabbed me, picked me up. I'm paralyzed, so I couldn't stop him, and then dropped me off the cliff. Because I was paralyzed, there was shit I could do. Like, absolutely nothing I could do to stop this, and my character died. Which in the Adventure League means pack up your stuff, roll a brand new character. And because Aether was level 5 at this point, I was screwed. All the experience I'd spent was just going to be gone, and I'd have to start a brand new level 1 character. Luckily, I had some friends in the party that had the ability to reincarnate me, and I was able to come back to life and not have to lose this character that I created an intro for. Like, I'm really attached to this character. And yeah, he went from being... I had to change him from Eladrin because I'm not allowed to use an Eladrin in the AL rules. Again, rules. So he was a Wood Elf because that gave me the bonuses I want. And when he got reincarnated, he turned into a High Elf, which is basically the same as an Eladrin without the teleporting feature. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of poetic justice. So yeah, I got my first character. I've never had a character die ever. So I had my very first character death, which was a little bit annoying but hilarious at the same time. And yeah, the other thing, I had to play a low level character because they needed another player at the table in order to go. And so I picked up a character. I just made a really quick character. I'm like, well, how am I going to roleplay this? And I kept thinking about Critical Role because it'd been on the night before and I'd missed it. So I'm going to show you guys the character sheet. This is the character sheet. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to read it all that well, but I'll get it close. This is Khorne. Khorne is a half-orc barbarian who is a gladiator. He's a former gladiator turned adventurer. And Khorne talks like this. He goes, hello, my name is Khorne. Like you eat it, but with a K. And for those of you that haven't realized this, Khorne is a tribute to Grog from Critical Role. And I had so much fun playing this character. He was an absolute blast to play. Kind of like Will Wheaton, I roll really poorly, and so I take the role-playing aspect of RPGs really seriously, because that's the only way that I can have fun, because I generally just tend to fail over and over and over again. So I got to run around like the mission I had the most fun in. We had to find this girl that had gone missing, and in order to do that, we had to like investigate the town and look for clues. We eventually found out she kind of got caught up in a cult, and we had to go kind of rescue her from this cult, which she was brainwashed. So we had to rescue her without, her, like, she didn't want to be rescued, so we had to forcibly rescue her. And it was so funny. First of all, I'm a barbarian. All of my stats are based around, I hit things with my axe and then they die. And I'm not really good at investigating and things like that. I don't have any, like, I had an 8 intelligence and a 10 wisdom and a 12 charisma. Like, those are the things that you use to find out stuff. I had nothing. All my stats were in me hit things with the axe. And his axe's name is Lucille. She's very nice. And yeah, it was just so silly and fun. And so we ran around this entire city looking for her, and we just had amazingly bizarre things happening where I would like they were trying to get some information from this shopkeeper. And we had our paladin go in and try and get the information. Paladins have high charisma, so they're very good at persuading people and getting people to talk and things like that. That's how D&D works. So he goes in and he asks this shopkeeper for information, and the shopkeeper is doing the general, the international sign for "give me money," which is, "Oh, I don't know, my memory is so bad." And he's just sitting there going, "Well, do you think you could know? Because I think you could know." And the shopkeeper, I really wish I did, but I've got such a bad memory, and he's totally not getting it. So, being the fact that Korn is a gladiator and probably hangs around on some of the seedier sides of town, he would be familiar with this. So he was waiting outside, because big half-orc barbarian with a giant axe, you don't send him into the shop. It just doesn't work very well. So he bursts in, goes, "Oh, thank you for finding my friend. You know what I found outside? I think you may have dropped this." And he puts down a gold coin on the counter to get the process going. And what eventually ended up happening, because these guys could not persuade for their life, I think he ended up spending, because it was a smoke shop. He ended up spending, what was it, like 20 or 30 gold trying to get this information. First of all, bribing the guy, he spent like 7 or 8 gold just bribing him. And then they were trying to look in this ledger thing on his desk, and so in order to keep him distracted, he goes over and is like, "Hey, I've never tried one of these cigar things. Why don't you show me the best ones so I might be able to do it, yes?" And so he goes over there, and due to the fact that Korn is stupid, he was tricked into buying 2 kind of really crappy cigars for 13 gold, which is an exorbitant amount for crappy cigars. And Korn doesn't smoke. So, yeah, it was so funny. And then when we get out of the shop, I kind of turned to our paladin. There was a monk with him. And so I turned to our paladin and monk. I'm like, "How did you get to where you are without being able to realize that when he says, 'I don't remember,' you put something shiny on the table?" And it was so much fun. And we had, it was such a blast to do. We really did have an absolutely excellent time. But yeah, so Anyway, so that was my weekend. I'm going to try and get back to more regular schedule coming up here. I'm not sure if I'm planning on doing streamy streams tomorrow since I've been off for a couple of weeks. I don't know if that's going to happen because I have other things that I had to put off in order to spend 4 days running this convention. But as of right now, I'm planning on doing streamy streams. So hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow. And then I will have more updates and things like that on Wednesday during the normal random vlogging time. Okay? So, thanks if you watched this entire thing. I know it's a little bit long, but I literally have hours and hours and hours of stories to tell about that, and I will interject them into random vlogging probably over the next few weeks. Alright, so, again, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys tomorrow with some streamy streams with TJ. Alright? Bye-bye!